Hey guys. Well, you know how I like to have a sense of humor about things. And some things just strike me really funny. Um, all these readers talk about how the nefarious people, how they are jealous and envious, like who are you to have gotten this position as a chosen one or whatever. And they're mad and they think that you get things easily and they get how they come up with that, I have no idea. If they had any idea how I live my life, they would never think that, but they just come up with it. They just invent it. So things go easy for us. Yeah, okay. But anyway, they have all these like preconceived notions or ideas that we somehow like I don't know, bestowed it upon ourselves that we went and bought this, cosmetic crown and put it on our heads and said, I am an anointed one or something like that, right? So they're like, wow, she's not gonna be able to say that. I'm gonna say that. Let me steal that crown and put it on my head. But you got to think about it this way. Okay, if you look at God as like God created everything, everything. He knows everybody's thoughts, all of your actions, what you think of people, how you treat them, your most intimate thoughts. I mean, he knows he knows your intimate thoughts. He knows everything you've ever done, everything, even things that you've thought of doing, even ways that you try to manipulate people to your advantage and stuff. He knows all of it. Now, when I say he, the like I could feel some of these nefarious people kind of laughing, like, oh, she believes that God would know all of us all the time. God is not. I mean, it's like time to broaden our minds, okay? God is consciousness. Consciousness is everything that exists, all even inanimate objects, okay? And all at once. So of course it knows everything. It, he, she, however you want to say it. I call him he, just for simplicity's sake. He knows everything. Okay. It's very narrow-minded to think that he couldn't have the capacity to know all of our thoughts and all of our deeds, but he does. He does. And so it's just one of those things that we can't fathom, we can't imagine, but it's true because consciousness is everything. And I'll tell you what, from having been enlightened myself, when you need to know something, you have the answers. They're just in you automatically. You're like tapped into all wisdom and all information right here in the now moment. Okay. So if I was wondering about trampolines, you know, you don't have to walk over and grab a book and take a look at it necessarily. It can be totally downloaded to you in that moment that you ponder, I wonder, what's a trampoline about? And then all this information would be downloaded to you and you would know, right? So that seems unfathomable too, but we are really, really ancient the way that we operate. We're like Flintstones, right? We don't get all of that. Okay. So I'm asking you to stretch your imagination here, and I'm going to use an analogy I think everybody will understand. If the world is a company and God is the owner, the developer, he's the one who heads it all up. Okay. So he hires all the contractors and everybody to build his business and to make all the floors and how to decorate them and all that. He designates the human resources and all the interior decorator, the whole thing, right? But God's in control. So he can look at any different department and say, this has got to change, that's got to change. I don't like that. And he can sell his business if he wants to, I guess. Like anything's possible, right? Because he's the boss, he's the owner, right? But nothing's going to get past him. Nobody's going to make any major change that's going to significantly impact the company if he hasn't put his stamp on it somehow. All of his main managers are coming to him, or his CEO and everybody at the top, they're all coming to him saying, do you approve of this? Here's what's going on. And he's going to say, yes, I do, or no, I don't, or this needs tweaking, or whatever, right? He may not make every little decision all the time because he trusts these other people to head that up. But so in this department, when you're looking at choosing a chosen one, that is one of your very most important departments there is. if you're trying to change the world for the better, if you're trying to create a new earth, a harmonious, happy, abundant earth like you meant it in the first place that Satan stole from you. Like Satan tricked him. If you watch what is his name? Paul Wallace, okay? He gives the history, some Gardens of Eden or something like. Look at his website. He's got some very informative books. So Satan tricked him, and Satan wiggled his way in there. He was jealous of the way they see jealousy is the root of everything that's bad. So God was like, I love my humans so much that I've created that I'm going to give them everything. Every animal will bow down to them and do what they want. Water will come up to their lips to be drank from. Like everything was meant for us to enjoy and love and take in all the beautiful nature and surroundings. And God was nature, right? All of it was perfect. We had all the medicine we'd ever need. We could heal ourselves. We were born to be enlightened. It was all perfect, absolutely perfect. If it weren't for Satan's jealousy, he came in and said, well, that's not fair. I want to be the one who gets all that attention from God. I'm the one who wants everything to go my way. Blah. He did that, right? He started the whole damn thing. So So it's been messed up for a long time. And there's been this tug of war for a long time. But God's trying to, or is going to, is achieving the goal of finally taking a really long time to switch everything over the way that he intended it to be in the first place. So we're getting back to the way that God wants things to be. So as important of a task as that is, he has watched every human being on the planet. He's watched how they make decisions. He's watched how they care for people. He's looked at the whole thing, and he's picked what he feels are the most honorable, respectable people that he chose. Okay, those are the chosen ones. People who've been through the ringer and proven themselves time and again, over and over and over, and love him endlessly, and have so much faith in him, and they get him, right? So, in fact, well, let me just finish up this train of thought. So he picks what he feels is the absolute perfect people to go lead in his new earth, to be leaders and inspire people so that other people can then follow that example and also become more like his chosen ones. He wants to create more chosen ones. He wants everybody to be chosen, right? So, but since the world has become so completely tainted, there's just, so many of them now that are still pure of heart and that truly honor the important things in life, right? Do you really think this most important task of all ever on the planet Earth, do you really think that he's going to allow somebody, his HR manager, to just take somebody out? Whoop, let's put this person over here and let's obey this curse over here, this spell, and we're just gonna slip in this bad guy right here. God's gonna be like, what the hell did you do here? Who is this person? What are you talking about? Well, I mean, they put up a great spell. It was a phenomenal spell by a very well-known practitioner. I mean, why not just give it to them? Why not? And God's going to say, okay, let's take a look at something for a minute. All right. I want you to see just what I was looking for in this position. And you tell me if that candidate, that person you think should be slid right to the front because they competed their way there, cheated their way there, lied their way there, and did a spell for it. Okay, let me just explain to you what went into me choosing the person that just got put to the side there. All right. Number one, are they corruptible? No. They had to be uncorruptible because I'm choosing people who are going to be a leader and an example in the new earth. If they were corruptible, then it would go back to Satan's ways, right? It would be like, I'd be putting myself, that would be a huge risk for me. I'm going to be, talking from God's position here. Do you think I'm really going to allow somebody that's corruptible, somebody that somebody could, hey, I'll pay you this much, or let me bribe you, or let me do this and that and the other thing, and that lying and cheating is corruptible, right? So he's like, okay, so that candidate that I had in that position was not corruptible. I tested the hell out of this person, and they are tried and true. I have watched for many, 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 many years. Every decision they've ever made. I've watched every time they've come up against anything corrupt, any kind of corrupt offer. I even offered her to go to Beverly Hills and become a model. She didn't take it. Why? Because she saw that it was completely corrupt and the people sleep with each other to get ahead and they take drugs and get hung up on cocaine and stuff for it. So she threw it away. I saw all of it, right? So, chunk, chunk, uncorruptible. All right, let's go to the next one. Untemptable. I've seen some people tempt her. I've seen some situations tempt her when she was in a position to really be tempted, like handing somebody a meal if they do this, if they're starving, or, handing somebody like a really gorgeous guy. And when she hasn't had been with somebody in a real long time, whatever, I've tried her on everything. I've seen her in so many different situations where she was very much in need. You would think that she's desperate, right? But then somebody, a corrupt situation came along and offered her a plate of whatever the good thing was. But she didn't want to do that. She didn't want to take any shortcuts. She only wanted to do it if it had the right terms involved, if it was honest, if it was upright, if it made her feel good about it, that if it inspired her and she felt like it was the right thing to do, she would do it. Otherwise, no. Right? Okay. And that's important. Why? Because I don't want anybody to be able to tempt he or her somewhere else. I'm trying to get to an objective here with this new earth thing. I have a way that I want it to be. I want it to be glorious and happy and equal and all this other stuff. I can't have somebody that's temptable go in there and pretend their way, They're just going to turn around and be like a Judas, right? 3, consistently makes the right decision. Time and time and time and time and time again. There may have been a slip up or two along the way, but did she learn from it or he learn from it? Yeah, damn straight. In fact, she gets up today on her platform and talks about it and educates people on her mistakes. That's what I want in my new earth. Somebody vulnerable, somebody authentic who says, I've made mistakes and I'll admit it. And, you learn from my mistakes if you choose to. Otherwise, you'll just have to experience yourself and forgive yourself, afterwards and learn from it. We're godly sorrow, not worldly sorrow, right? So check forgiving. Forgiveness is important. We can't have somebody going into the new earth and when they get tripped by somebody, they end up hating them and angry at them and casting spells on them. Or they look at them sideways, cast a spell on them, or they, oh, you're prettier than me, cast a spell on them. Where would we get? Where would we get in the new earth if somebody was like that, right? He has to have people in line in leadership that will absolutely forgive and say, you know what? I'm forgiving even for my own sake, for my own heart. I love myself so much. And I love other people the same as I love myself because I've developed that self-love. So he needs somebody forgiving because he needs somebody who realizes that everybody makes mistakes and everybody has faults and it's a journey for everybody, So he needs somebody who will cut people slack because you're going to be dealing with so many people that have stumbled and fallen all along the way. He wants everybody to come. So he needs somebody who's tolerant and patient and understanding, Okay, so unapologetically themselves. Okay? He doesn't want people-pleasing leaders. Why? Now, that's different than just being kind to people. Being kind to people is totally different from people-pleasing. People pleasing means that people that you actually feel that you're bullied, basically. You're bullied, but you're bullied by your own putting other people first before yourself. You don't love yourself enough. If you're people pleasing, you don't love yourself enough. God needs people who love themselves. Because otherwise, if you're a people pleaser, you end up resenting everybody and getting angry. Oh, look at she gets everything she wants to, like these guys say sometimes. Oh, she gets everything she wants to. And it's like, well, you gave it to her. You didn't even put up a fight. You didn't even put up boundaries. You didn't even try to have a conversation. How can you resent this person? You gave it to them on a silver platter. You just weren't loving yourself enough. So actually, the blame is on you for not standing up for yourself. So he needs people to take personal accountability as a leader, right? That's very, very important. He doesn't want victims in leadership. He doesn't want people feeling sorry for themselves in leadership. He needs people to take the torch and run with it. And if stuff goes wrong, then they take a look at themselves, they analyze it, and they don't beat themselves up, but they say, all right, let's get back on the horse and go again and make another go of it. All right. Loves nature. He is nature. He's all that exists. He created this earth to enjoy. He wants somebody who understands or understands what a beautiful world he's made and how incredible it is and how lucky we are to even have it, right? So, I mean, that's a given. If you don't love God, if you don't love nature, then what are you going starting the new earth for as a leader, right? Um, Compassionate. We're trying to create a compassionate world. He needs somebody who's like mastered compassion. So, I mean, another way of saying that is selflessness, not narcissistic. Narcissistic is me, 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 me. It all better work out for me. Somebody with compassion takes everything into consideration. Everybody and everything takes the whole big picture into consideration because they care about everybody involved and they want the best for everybody. And if somebody's over here hurting, they don't want to have the leader just walk right by them and not care about the person who's hurting over here. He wants them to stop, like Yeshua would, walk over and say, can I help you? What can I do? Touch the person and heal them or something. Doesn't have to take a lot of time, but just, or even just you can keep walking, but just smile and wave and send a blessing. Somebody with compassion, though, is important as a leader in this new earth because we want more compassion in our world. Okay, so being tested in every simulation, in every scenario possible. Okay, so God's talking to this HR manager still and saying, okay, does this person check any of those boxes? Well, not yet. Give me some more. They're not any of those things right now, but I mean, maybe we could train them into it, right? Tested and tried in every simulation and scenario. Okay, so God vetted the person, watching them their entire life fall down and get back up again. Get slammed with trauma after trauma, people beating on them, bullying and them, doing nothing but telling them they're worthless and they'll never amount to anything, just against them their whole lives. And these people didn't break. They became stronger. Why do you need that? You need resilient leaders who aren't going to get discouraged when things go wrong. You need somebody who's got stamina, resilience, that'll keep going the extra mile, do whatever it takes to get the job done. It's important that you have leaders that you can rely on, that are consistent, that you've seen in so many different situations, and for sure you don't even have to look at what they're doing. They're getting the job done. They can be trusted. Okay. Will do good with money. Well, you're going to be entrusting them with a lot, and it could be just everything that you entrust them with. They're good with carrying things around and staying organized. They're good with, doing this, that, or the other, and everybody's different. Some people are more organized, more people are more this, but do they think of others? Do they give to others? Do they make sure other people are taken care of? Do they make sure their neighbor has enough food? Do they make sure their neighbor knows that if anything ever goes wrong, you can come here? I have extra water. I have extra food. You can always come here for more. Do they look out for their neighbors? Hey, just so you know, this thing's going to be going on next week. You should probably know about. That could be like detrimental or that could be instrumental, but somebody who gets the news out because they're concerned and they care about people. Or like me on my channel when I was doing everything about true love and then switched over to talking about truths in the world because I felt like everybody needed to know. I became like the bugle boy or something. Here's what's going on. It's alarming. That's what he needs. So that's what he's been looking for. Somebody who listens and gets the job done. Now, this is where most people fall to the wayside and automatically. They don't know how to listen to God very well. They don't practice it very often. They don't spend much time with him, let alone actually implement what he's saying or doing or acting on what he's saying. Like you have to be willing to, against all logic, if something like looks completely illogical, like that doesn't make any sense, God. Why would I bring a winter coat in the middle of summer to my job today? No, I'm not doing that. He doesn't want somebody like that. He wants to say, hey, grab your winter coat. And the person goes, all right, I'll grab it and takes it in the car with them. No questions asked, right? That's what he wants. Wouldn't you if you were a boss? When you want somebody to just trust you, don't ask a bunch of questions, just grab it because you guys trust each other and they know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. They'll explain it later. So you go grab that coat, throw it in the cart, and you're off. And God's going to explain it to you, or somehow you'll figure it out. Like you get to work and all of a sudden there's an emergency with the freezer and they ask you to go in and stand in there and watch and wiggle things around and move things around while they're figuring other things out, well, like the electricity and whatnot with the freezer. And you're in there shaking and shivering. Oh, I brought my winter coat today. God was looking out for me, right? And everything that he asks you to do that's like, what is always for you. The chosen ones know this. We've learned to trust what God tells us to do is actually for our best benefit. If he says, go move here, we don't even think for a second we go. If he says, stay put, we don't doubt that for 1 second, that's absolutely in our best interest. And we do nothing, we don't veer outside of that. And what's really important about that too, is a lot of these destiny stealers or people who try to take people's destinies, all they have to do is get somebody to do something against what God wants them to do. That's all they got to do. And all of a sudden, boop, they think they can steal it. And they've done it with other people who weren't chosen ones, They've been like, okay, I'll get them. God, I know that God wants them to take this direction in life. So I'm going to get them to go this way out of fear. And if they go that way, we got them. Because then we jump into their position on that other path that they were supposed to take. We go do what they were supposed to do. And we got it. And we got their life. We got their destiny. And they've actually been succeeded at this with some people, singers and stuff like that. They've intersected people like that. So God wants somebody who will listen to his instructions and follow obediently without question, that they'll just do it. Is faithful. I mean, if you were looking for the key people to be leading your new earth, wouldn't you want somebody who's faithful to you, who totally believes in you and has total faith in you, or wants to and is trying to as best they can, Somebody who has a heart for it, but may have a lot of trauma and a lot of pain and stuff. So he's been shaping people for this, for years and years and years by putting them through many, many things, making them face their worst fears until finally they all get disintegrated. All right. Surrenders control to me. So, one of the ways that Satan or any of the dark forces get to you is demons come in. Like I've explained to you guys, if you ever do anything wrong or anything bad, or you have any kind of pain or anything ever goes wrong, arguments, anything, it's demons. It's demons fighting the good side of you, the enlightened side of you, the peaceful, loving side of you. Okay. So you got demons over here on this shoulder, the angels over here, the typical good versus evil battle going on. So what happens when a lot of people, because of our training in society, because of these infiltrators, that God that been in the news and the movies, just perpetuating the past and the future, never mentioning the present moment. They like purposely made us focus on that as if it doesn't exist. We're never gonna talk about the present moment. It's always the past or the future, right? They've trained us to do that. So being in the present is like a weird idea. Like, what are we even talking about? Like, what does that look like? What does that feel like? What? So when we're surrendered and we let go of the control, then we have that incredible mechanism that kicks in and does and like makes it, the whole universe conspires to make everything work out for you beautifully. It makes miracles happen. So God needs us to rely on him. We hold hands with God when we're present in the moment and when we're out of the thoughts. That's where we get the answers, the solutions, and everything we need, and the ultimate protection. If you're not present, you're caught up in your head and you're always trying to control it and look for answers and reach for this and reach for that and everything else outside of yourself, then you're not going inside to stay in touch with him, to hold hands with him. He needs that, obviously, because why would you even be there if you guys don't have that tight relationship? Just like with a spouse, I guess. You know, you guys need to be on the same page, holding hands through things. You can't just be flying or flitting about, not even knowing what the other's thinking or doing. You're going to come back and be all confused. Be like, what's going on? I thought I was doing this. When you're going to, what? You guys got to be on the same page. So you got to be willing to surrender control and not overthink things, but let it up to God. Just let God handle it by being present. Knows who or what they are. We're enlightened ones. We have so much power in us. It's absolutely incredible. We have to be in the present moment to tap into that power. So we are all like Yeshua at our core, but we've forgotten that because of all the programming that's happened to us from these Nefarians trying to convince us that we're, just like what they did with dark people. Turned them against each other, made them feel like they used to be slaves, made them believe that, that they're bad somehow because of their color, which is ridiculous because as it turns out, when you look into your history and you look at the actual truth, they're like the most spiritual, most advanced, most incredible beings there are on the planet. They're sought out by the bad guys. They want the black babies for the adrenochrome. Why? Because they're so pure and they're so close to God. We're all faded. Us white people, we're like diluted and faded. Like we should be like Kahlua, or we should be like, Rome, but we're not. We're all faded like this because of all of our breeding and stuff. So they're actually better than us. They're like nobility, you know, in a sense. And they've also been completely programmed to think that they're this small and the white people are like this. It's all lies. It's the same thing though. It's the same idea. Um, so inspiring leader. Can this person take lemons and turn them into lemonade? Because there might be a bunch of lemons up there. We don't know what we're discovering in this new earth. Are they going to have a positive attitude? Are they going to be going on these adventures and making everybody feel good about it? Because we don't want a bunch of people going and committing suicide half the way up the hill, giving up because they have a complaining leader who's like, my heels hurt. And oh my gosh, how could you have done that? A bunch of fighting and bickering all up the hill. They want somebody in charge that's like, let's go for it. Come on, everybody. And when people want to give up and they're losing their breath, you can do it. They'll sit with them, hold their hand and be like, come on, just one more mile. And then we're there. And then we get to see the most incredible view ever. And then we could stay there for like a week or two. We don't even have to move after that, And I know of a great water source. It'll be so replenishing. So they need somebody like that for obvious reasons, right? Selfless. We already talked about the selfless thing. We need people who are, it's fine. It's good for you to love yourself. It's good for you to look out for yourself. But it's better if you can do that first, always putting on your mask in the airplane first, and then you give it to your child. It's good for you to take care of yourself first and foremost and love yourself completely, and then give it to everybody else as well. Not just your own immediate family. That's still kind of selfish, but reaching out toward everybody you meet. opening the door for everybody, offering change if they don't have change in their purse at the cashier thing. Whatever you're doing out there, are you looking around at other people and acting like their sister or your brother, treating them like your family? That's how we all need to be, right? I wouldn't, is it, I mean, you're the boss, right? You're God, you're creating this new earth. Is that what you would want to create? Or would you just want people who are just like in this small little scope of, I only care about my family. I only care about me and my cousin Ray and my brother. That's it. You know, as long as the three of us are okay, that's all I care. Do you want that? No, no. So gets me deeply. Now, why would God want people who get him deeply? Because there has to be an amount of trust there. He doesn't want to have to explain himself to everybody. The reason that that I find value in this thing is because blah, 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 blah. He wants to be done with he got all of our training done our whole lives. We know what's valuable and we know what's not. You know, we know the things that are actually important and the things that fade away. We know that. It's tried and true within us. We get God. We get his priorities. We're of the same mindset, right? And that's important to make his job easier and faster and to implement certain things as if he doesn't have to explain all that other stuff. If it, some people even they get so biblical, you know, they get so religious. Oh, well, let me go check my Bible and just make sure that, in Galatians 3:25. Okay, yeah, I guess it's okay. According to the scripture, I guess it's okay. Now, I hate to make fun of the Bible. I'm not making fun of the Bible, actually, because there's a lot of valuable information in it, but you also don't realize it was completely manipulated. Completely, just look into some of this history. Don't be too scared to buy books that talk about Yeshua's hidden teachings. Okay. Don't believe all the propaganda. Pastors telling you, oh, the Bible says don't ever look outside of this book for your answer, blah, blah. It's baloney. It's to control you. Be thinking outside the chosen ones, think outside the box. They're not just all about the Bible. They can think about all of it. They listen to God and source itself for those answers. And if the rules change, they can roll with that because they trust and they know God is good. He always does the right thing. We always do the right thing. So there's this really great, tight-knit, trusted network between him and his chosen ones. Now, a lot of us are not connected, but that's when our tribes are coming together, and we will be. But in the meantime, he's developing us all to have these similar characteristics so that when we do come all together, it's going to be amazing, right? And that's where a lot of true loves are coming together, these power couples, because they've made it past all these tests, tried and true, all these tests and their training and these initiations and all of that stuff, right? So they come in and they're even more powerful because they have each other's backs and they're protective of each other. So, willingness to give up everything. Why is that important? Because nothing really matters but God. With God, he is a wellspring, and he will rise up everything that you need from the earth. He turned water into wine, right? If you can be present, you have the keys to the universe. You have everything that you have ever wanted pouring through this wellspring, just miracles and miracles of this waterfall just shooting up over you. If you have presence, that's all you need. We know that. The chosen ones know that. This person that the HR person just slipped in front of that person, they don't have any of these things. None of it. Where did they think, or where did they get off thinking that they could just cheat their way, bribe the human resources person $500 to slide their name on top and throw a chosen one out after all of that work and consideration God put into that? And all of the trauma they had to endure, all of the tests, the tribulations. Oh my gosh. He's been polishing that diamond forever, forever. You think he's just going to give up his bright, shining, beautiful diamond and go pick up a little pebble that's not even polished, that doesn't even know how to love itself, doesn't even know how to be selfless, doesn't even know how to have real compassion? They can pretend. All of it's pretend that they do. Everything's fake. If it's positive, it's fake. He doesn't want that. He's not going to let that happen at the most important time of our entire history. We're in biblical times right now. We're going to be written about in the future history books. He is not about to let anybody pay their way into the pile or hocus pocus their way into the pile. I don't know what they're thinking. I really don't. Even if they had like one of these traits, I could see where they'd be like, well, maybe I could be better. I mean, one of them, but they don't have any of them. As you were listening, those of you who've wanted to cheat your way into our destiny, and what is our destiny? We don't even find value in our destiny hardly. There's supposed to be fame and fortune and our name's known for all history, blah, 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 blah. Why don't you go? You could be a bad guy in all history and be in the history books like Judas forever if you want to be famous like that. You know, but at least you'll be true to yourself. You know, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Think about it. Just be logical about it. Why does it make sense? After everything I've explained, why would it make sense that you could come in and just rob and take everything from a chosen one after they've earned it? After they've been earning it their entire lives and working tirelessly to be the best possible person and the best possible version of themselves they could be. You really do think you have that right? Do you? Because you're going to act your way, pretend cry that it should be yours? Doesn't cut it. You get out there on the Jahid, God says, okay, so let's humor you again. All right. You get the position. You get the position. Go ahead. Go with the rest of the chosen ones. See what happens. You get up there, you're whining, you're complaining. You can't believe you're there. It's way too hot. You'd be like, within an hour, I want to go home. Everybody be looking at you like, what? Like, this is just the beginning. Like, there's so much more. No, I want to go home. I'm not cut out for this. This is no. I'm not climbing whip. No, no way. So that's why it's not going to work. You could steal stuff from other people in the past. You got away with it before. You're not going to be able to cheat the most important time in our history. Chosen ones have earned it. They deserve respect. They deserve to be treated with honor. Okay? So it's about time you start seeing that. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. If you really think you still deserve it, maybe God will give you like a little Groundhog Day moment to live a day over and over and over and over and over until you're actually ready. Then maybe you will actually earn it. Maybe you could earn it in a day when it took the rest of us a whole lifetime to get here. Anything's possible, sure. And if you actually did earn it, and you did actually become somebody who was worthy of it, maybe you'd be added on. Maybe that's a noble cause. Maybe you should try for that. But do it honestly. Otherwise, you're not going to be one. Chosen ones do everything by the book. Not by the book, not by any kind of book, but I mean, they do it right. They do it the right way. They don't lie, cheat, or steal their way to it. But Satan would sure be entertained at you spending a bunch of cash to try to get it. He's going to be laughing his butt off in the background the whole time you guys like climb all over each other trying to make it happen. So how about not being just entertainment and comic relief for demons? How about you just say, good for you, chosen ones. Wouldn't want to be ya. I don't think I would wish that upon myself for nothing. And most chosen ones, trust me, after everything that they've gone through, they kind of wish they didn't. I mean, they do, you know it. But, it's really hard. It's really hard. Half of these people who think they can just slip into the pile, they wouldn't make it through like a day in our lives. They wouldn't make it through any of the tests we've been through. We're really tough. We can handle a lot. The things that they fire at us and do to us, there'd be no way they could go through it. But that's going to be their punishment if they try. God's told me, I'm going to make them go through what you've been through. Whatever they've wished upon you is going to happen to them. That's really not going to be fun for them. They never had actually thought about that beforehand, before they went and did that to someone. They never thought about, well, what if that happened to me? You know, what if my punishment for this when I get caught? Or what if God has seen this and he's pretty pissed off? Like, what's going to happen to me? What if he does the same thing to me? Oh my gosh. That in itself should have made the person stop in their tracks and be like, I'm not messing with this. But these guys didn't even think. They just got those jealous eyes and they went running at it. So I'm just saying, I just thought we could use a little comical moment to really just like, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's take a good look at this. If you were God, would you just let somebody slide in like that, lie and cheat and steal their way in? There'd be no way in hell. No way. Not when everything relies on it. Not when your very heart and soul and everything you've always wanted, like you've always wanted humanity to see how loved they are. You're really going to let somebody come in and do that to it? Not happening, guys. Sorry to break it to you, but what's really funny is these guys they also weren't smart too, because what they could have done, and they could have been like, who are the chosen ones? Let's figure this out. If we figure out a chosen one and we change our hearts and we heal, we become good people and we want to do good, maybe we'll become famous by being their best, most reliable, whatever, you know, their best friend or their person who's at every event, the person that I get to see with, whatever. I would get everything this chosen one gets. I get to have all the meals with them. I get to go to all the events with them. I get the red carpet rolled out for me. I get the limousines. I get the whatever, you know, that's what a smart person would do, is be like, okay, having considered I've been a bad person most of my life, how do I turn this around to actually benefit without black magic? Because black magic is cheating. That's cheating. That's not going to happen in the future. That's not going to be working. Remember, things are changing very, very quickly in a very, very different way. The lying, cheating, and stealing is not going to be allowed or permitted anymore. Anybody who does that is going to have accounts frozen. They're not going to have any money to spend. They're going to go broke and whatever else. They're not going to get opportunities. We're going to actually be able to see our consciousness measured. People are going to know whether we're good people or we're liars, cheaters, and stealers over here. They're going to know. Everybody, totally transparent. We're coming into a time of telepathy as well. So people will be able to read your mind. You may as well start shaping up your brain for good things, to think good things, to do good things, to do good deeds, to have integrity, to treat people with honesty and truth and do the right thing. That's how you get on the good side of what's coming, okay? All right. Hope this helps. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.